Not you, the government. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, the government is definitely trying to cause a bloody revolution. And it's because they want open borders. So this border issue is bigger than people realize, as this whole thing is, because it goes to the heart of the Bible, the border. It does. God did not want a borderless world. The UN does. The UN has said they want a borderless world. The WEF has. And they bring it on the heels. It's all about people being free and open. And no, this goes against everything, because the one thing God does over and over again is take people. I bring it up all the time because it's important to America's founding. But he takes people that want to follow the right path, and he finds them a place. And then oftentimes what happens, they fall away. And then if there's too many that fall away for too long, then God hands them over. And then you see what happens. They fall into communism, okay? I'm not saying everybody that lives under communism is wicked. That's not what I mean at all, because there's many that practice the biblical God in undercover, like secretly. But the reason they are in countries, or the reason their country has fallen into the hands of communism, is because too many people fell away from the right road. They fell into the Baal worshipers, whatever, or the government becoming what you are to worship. So God protects people all over the world, but he wanted borders for a reason. And it's the exact reason that America was founded, because the Pilgrims were fleeing the Church of England. It goes to the heart of what God was doing in the Bible. So that's why there's many people in America that they worship the God of atheism. Yeah, and that's its own religion. Really, it is. If you sit back and think about it, you'll realize how that's its own God in and of itself. And they are mostly the higher educated, and they have wanted to get you off on this track that it's about the courts make the law and the lawyers. Yeah, no. What do we see happening right now? We see that we have a justice system that doesn't act on, it's not just at all. And yeah, there may be some judges that are in the court system that are decent, but there's none that we see right now. No, and they're a representation of the garbage that's all throughout the courts, in my opinion. The very fact that the Supreme Court judged the way that they did, or put it on hold, whatever it is, okay, they showed they couldn't do the right thing, okay? You don't need to go in and get some long lawyer degree in the university, okay, and come out and you just have your mind manipulated because you think manipulating the Constitution needs to be done for your own advantages. I mean, how often do people hear that, well, some of the parts of the Constitution, well, they're hard to understand. No, they're really not. If they would have put the Declaration of Independence with it, it would have all been very, very simple. But this way, it gave your wicked people an advantage to twist and turn parts of the Constitution that never should have been inverted and twisted and turned to serve the agenda of what the ultimate wicked one of this world wants, which is we borderless world. Book of Genesis, and I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing. That's America. We're not a blessing. We have not been a blessing. We have the military-industrial complex. We have many, many flawed things going on, most especially in the court system. All needs to be, it needs to be gutted and all, because it's a mess. It's a total mess. It doesn't work. So as it crumbles, all of it will crumble, and people that are of high character, not like the Supreme Court who's high on crack, but of high character, will be able to interpret the Constitution properly. The very fact that people thought only the higher educated should be interpreting the Constitution is why the Constitution isn't about America anymore, and it's often some like effed up land, okay? But this goes to the heart of everything, because the Supreme Court showed they can't even do what's right by the border. And why is that happening? Because God's letting it happen. God is showing everybody, none of your institutions can do the right thing. And that's why I said a few years ago, I said it's going to come down to a test for everyone. It will. It may be small on your in your little atmosphere of something, but because everybody, we will go along with things we shouldn't. We will. And we'll make the excuse, well, the law says so. Okay, but if it's not the right thing to do, should you do it? Should everybody just throw their hands up because a few high on crack Supreme Court justices decided that they're going to put this on hold, even though that this is that's a life and death situation going on there on both sides? Yeah, no, you have to do the right thing. And then you're seeing that. You're seeing people stand up and do the right thing. That we don't care what the court has now lost credibility. Okay, because I mean, these things are supposed to be put in place for your good, but what happens, and it's in the Bible, how the government and the law, all of it becomes twisted because of the people that are on the courts, and they will go along with things that they know they shouldn't, and they justify it by either the law, my boss, it's this says it or that's it. No, it's simple as this: do the next right thing. Simple as that. What's the next right thing? Is the next right thing to go along with the Supreme Court when it comes to the border that's been being flooded for 3 years? No. It shows they cannot be trusted to protect and uphold what God would want for this nation. And before somebody who's, in the atheist religion coming after me, I don't care what you have to say. The Pilgrims were an example of everything in the Bible. That God takes them out of the nation that wants to force them to worship a certain way. And they came here. That covenant with God is the only reason that this country has prospered. It certainly hasn't been because of any higher educated university, please. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people whom he has chosen as his heritage. Everything's going to fall on America. Why would that be? Well, because I think that, in my opinion, God has chosen America as his heritage. And who else has talked about this being our heritage? Now, if you know, you know who's been bringing that up a lot, that this is your heritage. So don't screw up by going to war with these people. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. God talks about, let me read this. I think this is from Micah, maybe. There you shall be rescued. There the Lord will redeem you from the hand of your enemies. Now many nations are assembled against you, saying, let her be defiled, and let our eyes gaze upon Zion. But they do not know the thoughts of the Lord. They do not understand his plan, that he has gathered them as sheaves to the threshing floor. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make your horn iron, and I will make your hoofs bronze. You shall beat in pieces many peoples, and shall devote their gain to the Lord, their wealth to the Lord of the whole earth. In that day, declares the Lord, I will assemble the lame and gather those who have been driven away and those whom I have afflicted. And the lame I will make the remnant, and those who are cast off a strong nation, and the Lord will reign over them in Mount Zion from this time forth and forevermore. And what it goes on to talk about too is, it shall come to pass in the later days that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and it shall be lifted up above the hills, and the peoples shall flow to it. And many nations shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He shall judge between many peoples, and shall decide disputes for strong nations far away. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Bible tells all of this that's playing out and has been playing out right before our eyes.